Welcome to Hadoop Exam Learning Resources. In this series, we are going to do Java multi-threading sessions. This is very important for advanced programmer, even Java programmer. If you are going to work on concurrency of Java programming like multi-threading, so various in-depth concepts is necessary to understand when you are working in low latency models like in investment banks or somewhere where the multi-threading is mandatory. Then you need to understand each and every concept. So we are starting new series of concurrence programming. So we'll do the hands-on session as well in this and understand the concept in depth. So let's follow this session, and this session is provided by hadoopexam.com and would be available on quicktechie.com. So let's start first the concepts and then we'll go ahead further. Okay, so in this we'll be covering the what is concurrency model, concurrency versus parallelism, creating the way the threads new threads created, and finding the current thread model, detail how to find my current thread is detail, etc. So let's go into this. So concurrency model, at the same time I want to tell you, like, this PDF you can download the description section of the video. So you just click on this and you can download it. So let's first pick up the topic concurrency model. So what like before going to concurrency model, let me show you something different. Okay, so let's first understand the Java processes, threads versus process. Actually that's first very basic concepts I want to, if you know then you can ignore this part, but let's process versus thread we need to understand. Okay, so actually initially when the computer was launched, there was a single CPU machine, and nowadays we have multiple CPU. Like CPU, we know, like there are multi-core machines, so CPU 2, CPU 3, 4, even more than many cores are, like up to 16 cores are available in the computer nowadays. So this kind of the new modern systems are there, and this is the previous system. So whenever you create the Java process, so you what exactly when you launch a JVM, it will, what exactly it does, it create a process. So process is the one Unix box process, like you can see Microsoft is Office is one process. Similarly Java is one process entirely, and whenever you execute something on single CPU machine, so it would be always executed in sequence. If there are multiple processes are running, so all processes are running, like something if you are doing on this process, so it get a chance to execute on this. Similarly if you are doing it, so once this completed, then only the second would get the chance. Now let's not go too much in depth here. So that's the sequential processing. Even if you write multi-threaded programming in single processes system, like 3 threads you're parallelly running, then still all 3 cannot run in parallel because this is a single CPU. If there is no CPU, how could you run the multi-processing? Correct. So this is switching the thread internally happens like this. First this thread executes some part, then this thread executes some part, and this thread executes some part. So this is where multi-threading happens. So the difference between process and threads is, like, one process will occupy the memory. Some memory is assigned to entire process, like we assign 8 GB to our Java virtual machine if it is running. And similarly, this is Java process. Okay, another, at the same time there is a Microsoft Office is running on the same computer, so this Office is also running, and this is also process. Both are the process. These two processes generally won't communicate with each other. They are completely independent, and the CPU will execute them. Okay, so these processes can never execute so communicate with each other. Okay, so let me clean out the screen here, and now come to the thread. Actually this is my JVM. Okay, so this is JVM is running, JVM process is running. Inside that I'm creating multiple threads. Let's say there are 4 threads, T1, T2, T3 and T4. So this thread can communicate with each other, but processes cannot communicate with each other. This is process. of MS Office is one process on Windows. This is Java process. Okay, so this process with each other cannot communicate. You have to write IPC, inter-process communication logic, to do the communication among the process. But when inside the process, if you launch multiple threads, so each thread will share the same memory area that is on the RAM and would be used by all the threads, so they can communicate with each other because they are sharing the same memory area. So that is the concept, difference between processes and thread. A process will have multiple threads and the threads can communicate with each other, but two different processes cannot, even without any explicit handling. Okay, nowadays, not nowadays, like since inception, communication is process can happen between the process, but they have to be explicit code needs to be written. So if you have heard remote processing, correct, distributed processing, these are all, we say, processing. These are communicating with another processes. So like let me give you the distributed processing example. Okay, what I mean distributed processing, this is computer one. This is completely different concept, but I just want to take you on this as we are going through this. So this three computer, on this I'm running my Java program, on this also I'm running Java program, all this. So now I want all these three computers should communicate with each other. So that is called distributed computing, where all three computers or processes are communicating with each other. So that is possible using the RPC protocol or remote procedure call is possible. So there are many other RMI call is possible. So in EJB, if you have heard, Enterprise Java Bean uses this RPC, like communicate with each other in the different system. So let's not go in depth right now for this. We'll cover in future sessions. Okay, so now here we are now concerned about the single process only. Okay, so this is my JVM, and inside JVM we are creating threads. So like 3 threads, and these 3 threads can communicate with each other. So what concurrency model says, like there are various concurrency model and how thread communicate with each other. Okay, so once you launch a Java process when multiple threads processing your job, as during the job execution, how all the threads communicate with each other. So like how they communicate. Okay, communication is possible, we know, like, but how they can communicate with each other, that is called concurrency model. So there are various concurrency models, we will see. However, right now we don't want to look into this. Okay, just ignore. Okay, so our concern is right now only learning the multi-threading. Okay, so now let's just compare concurrency versus parallelism. What exactly concurrency versus parallelism? Okay, so concurrency means you have the tasks, correct, 3 tasks. Okay, task 1, 2 and 3. So all 3 tasks run in concurrently, I would say. So that is called concurrency. But parallelism means you have one task and divide this task into the 5 tasks and 5 tasks. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 tasks, and each task run parallelly. So it's each subtask runs in parallelly. So that is the main task, and this is the subtask. So dividing a task into the multiple things and then run them in parallel, that is called parallelism. So that is the difference between concurrency and parallelism. You divide main task into the subtask and then run in parallel. But here, like example is garbage collection mark and sweep algorithm. If you have heard the concurrent mark and sweep, correct. So what exactly this GC does is, actually when your application is running, at the same time in the background another thread is running, that is do GC, and this is your application thread. So both things are keep running paralleling without stopping each other. without stopping each other. So that is called concurrency, because both the applications are both the things are progressing. This is your application thread and this is your garbage collection thread. Both are running in concurrently without stopping each other. That is called concurrent garbage collection algorithm. We will cover more on when we do the garbage collection algorithm. Okay, so now we have covered quite a good theoretical part. Let's see what is the way creating the thread. There are two ways you can create the thread. Okay, so let me go to the document. There is the first one is the thread class, java.lang.thread class, and another is a runnable interface. So here I will show you what exactly it does. Is this way you can create the thread class, and then my work.start you can do the thread class. Okay, so let me show you this. This is the example actually which I have taken copied into the Eclipse. Okay, this is the thread example. Okay, so this is the first way of creating thread. You first create a class, public class he thread, Hadoop exam thread extends thread class. This is a class, so that's why we have extended it, and inside that we have written the run method. Okay, and this is the my application main method. So whenever I need to create a thread of this class, I need to instantiate this class. So I have instantiated this class just using the new operator and he.thread.start. So whenever I want to start a thread, I need how call this kind line is there. So what exactly a start with thread will do, it go in your application in your class and look for the run method, and if it finds the run method, it will start the thread and it run your code. So let's see here. Okay, let me clear here, right click here and run as an application, Java application. So it will run it. Okay, so here you can see whatever written in the run method is executed. Even if you see, I have not directly called run method on this instance. You can see here I have called he.thread.start, and there is no start method defined in this class. So where it is coming from, it is coming from thread. So this start method internally calls the run method. So that's the reason it is always said, if you want to run the thread, you always call a start method rather than directly run method. If you directly call run method, it won't start a thread. It is just a normal call of the method in the instance. So this way you call the thread method. Okay, so just let me change this text to something else, add something else, hadoopexam.com, and run it again. So you can see now this task would be executed. So there are, it is written technically there are two threads. You can see in this class there are two threads. Can you imagine which two threads? First one is always your main thread. Whenever you run your application, first thread is the main thread, and the second thread is your this is the instance of this class what would create this he thread. This is the second thread. So we have two threads. So always your application will have one thread, that is main thread. When you are creating a Java application you are running, minimum you would have one thread. In the background there is GC thread is also running, but that is for the big applications and it's like keep running, but in this case it won't be keep running. As soon as main thread dies, all the threads related to main thread would die. So if my application breaks and my I'm out of main thread, so whatever threads are started by this main thread would be died itself. So this is the primary thread and these are the internal threads. So my application dies, all threads would die. Okay, now let's move ahead and see the next example. So runnable is another way to create the thread. So runnable is an interface and thread is a class, so we need to implement runnable interface. So this way we have implements keyword here, runnable interface, and again similarly we have run method here. Okay, and to run this is runnable. Okay, this is not itself is a thread, this is a task we want to complete. So rather than I would say it's a I would say it is a task I want to complete. So to complete this task I need a thread. So where this thread is coming, so this is the main thread, and there is a runnable task I have created, and what this task responsibility is to complete this task, my run, whatever written in the main run method. So this thread class I need to create an instance of the thread class which where runnable as an argument for this thread class. So what we are saying, like I'm instantiating a thread and giving it as a task, one task that is runnable task, and please complete my task. I will just call thread.start method. So until and unless you call the start method, your runnable for run method will not be called. So what it does is actually it goes to runnable class and its run method would be called. So there are again two thread, main thread, and this is second thread. This two thread. Runnable is not a thread. Remember, runnable is an task which you want to complete it. So we want to complete this task. So same class I have copied here. So that is the runnable. So I'll just run it. You can see here. So I'm runnable, give me work which you want to do. So with the help of thread class it will be done. So that's the way, it's very simple. So this second way of the creating thread. Now the very important question for the interview perspective or your understanding perspective, which method I should prefer when I am going to work on the multi-threading? I should use runnable or the thread class. So what is your suggestion? Like many people give very silly answer, like very general answers. I would say like runnable supports multiple inheritance, and that's the reason we need to use runnable. That's true, frankly that is true, that if you want multiple inheritance you should use it, but interview or just want to know something else. Where do you use it exactly? It's not a correct answer for his perspective. So runnable is a task you would use if you have so many tasks to complete, and who is going to complete its thread? So whenever you have constant number of threads which you keep submitting your tasks, let me draw here, okay, that would clear more actually. Suppose there is a queue, okay, and I'm keep submitting my runnable task. These are my tasks I need to complete, and there is a thread 1, T2 and T3, three threads which keep polling this task and finishing this task. So these three threads are going to poll this thing, and these three threads will never going to die. If there is nothing in the queue, they will wait for the new task to come. So this thread is continuously running. So you can imagine like kind of pool of threads, and the producer who keep producing, this is the producer, keep submitting new task to complete. So whatever task is coming, you are submitting in the queue, and this thread T1, T2 and T3 are pulling out of this thread. Like this is given to this thread, this second task is given to this thread, this task is given to this third thread. So they are keep getting this task and producing the whatever written inside the runnable would be completed. So here you can differentiate, like this task needs not to be thread, this should be a task, though that is would be always be runnable. It is no point of creating them as a thread instance. Obviously you can create as a thread object, but that is preferred you always create as a runnable object, and this pool should always be a thread instance. So that is the difference. Wherever you want to do some task, you do using the task create using runnable, and thread using pool using the thread class. So that's the main difference. Okay, now assigning name to your thread. How to assign a name to threads? Very simple way. It's like just give the thread argument. Whenever you create the thread class, you just give the name to the thread, and you can just print the thread name here. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, so this is served first HE thread. Okay, here I'll give you the name to my thread. Very simple. Hadoop exam thread class. Any name I can give it. It's just a string. Okay, so that's, you can see here, this is not the right way to give the name, because this is not a constructor we have not defined for HE thread. So there has to be a different way of creating, because this is not directly you can, because this is an instance of HE thread which does not have constructor in the super class, even in the thread class. So what, this is the different way you have to create actually HE thread. HE thread dot set name. This is the way you give the name, sorry, not as an argument you will give the name. Okay, so now you can print, assign this name and print the name again. So this is very simple attribute. Here you can print the name of thread class actually. Dot get name, very simple way to sorry, dot here, because now there is no instance. So what I need to do, thread dot current thread dot get name. This way we can get the name back. So here is a Hadoop exam thread class has been printed. So that's why you assign the name to thread, and you can just, so current thread is the way you can get the current detail of the thread. So that is the next point we are going to discuss. Everything which you are running as part of Java process will be using thread only. If you don't have multi-threaded application, then it will main thread only. To find the current detail of current thread, you just use the thread.current thread, and there are many methods are available. Okay, so here this is not the right way to create the thread name. Okay, ignore this part. We can just create the thread name using the set method, and similarly this way we can create in case of runnable class. So you can try your own, this is available. Okay, now this is the way, two way we have we can create the thread. And now let's I will give you an example how to create 100 number of threads. And always remember, whenever you create a thread, if you have not given any particular execution order, or you have not control mechanism, it could be executed in any order. Okay, so let me give you this 100 thread example, and it will create 100 thread, because in the main class we are just using for loop. In every iteration we are creating a thread instance, and inside we have written the thread class. So just run it, Java application, these are 100 threads. You can see this is not in order, correct, 94, 96, 98. So my machine is multi CPU machine, so it can run in any order of my thread, because we have not predefined order. So this is for loop, and 3 threads are created, and any thread can execute before. Even if you think you are in the for loop, so every iteration will create a thread, because the iteration main thread created an instance of the 100 threads. Okay, so this is my okay, main thread, correct. Inside this we have it, for loop create hundreds of threads, up to hundreds of threads. But which thread would be executed by CPU first? It could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, but there is no guarantee. As soon as this thread is created, get a chance and it would be executed. So third thread would be first, then it would be second, another CPU, because it's again goes to which CPU, because this is a multi CPU machine. So this is made, so you cannot predict the order. If you want to control, then there are multiple ways, like I want to order my threads to be ordered in particular sequence or something. So there is no point of like having multi-thread, some control. Okay, let's leave this topic. But if you want to control the order of your thread, you can do this. How? We'll do in the future session. Okay, so that's all about the multi-threading. First session actually will be creating a multi-threading session for entire series. So please subscribe on YouTube channel if you are watching, or this entire training would be available on quicktechie.com. so just go to quicktechie.com I'll show you. There we have various training. This is not only training. Go to register button. If you are not a member, you have to register, and inside the free training you can get the free training. So you can see Amazon Web Service training, Apache Spark training, Hortonworks data platform training, data science training. These all trainings we are available here, so you can watch it, okay, freely. There is no charge on this. Similarly, this training is created by hadoopexam.com, which has various material for the big data learning. So like Hadoop, Amazon Cloud, and various Android certifications, Cassandra certification, HBase, NoSQL, data science, many learning resources available. So you can go to hadoopexam.com to find the more detail. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you like this session. If you like this session, please like the YouTube button.